Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like Generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like Generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like Generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like Generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are joining from. We'll be starting a session now. Please allow me a minute so I can share my screen quickly and we can start with the session. And here we go. I hope my screen is visible to you all. And thank you so much for joining today's session. A warm welcome to you all to Global Skill Development Council AI Studio, solving coaching and learning challenges with generative AI, with the theme that is reimagining learning experiences and academic innovation through AI. My name is Preetham. I'm going to be your host for your session. If you need any assistance during the session, feel free to reach out to me over the chat box and I'll make sure that I'll be taking care of it, right? So we do have this incredible panel of speakers aligned for this entire webinar series, which is scheduled from today, that is 3rd November to 7th November 2025, with the time slot that is 7:30 a.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Singapore time, and 6 p.m. IST, which is Indian Standard Time. So please do join us for all the sessions which is aligned. So before I could hand over the session to our speaker today, I would like to introduce our hosting organization, GSDC. We known as Global Skill Development Council. We are vendor agnostic, vendor neutral, and we are globally recognized certification body. We are accredited by NSI and ABICB, and we do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us. We have certified more than 250,000 professionals across the globe. We have 500 SMEs, those are subject matter expert, industry experts. They work with us closely to design our deliverables. Also, we are associated with 1,000 multinational corporates and 500 Fortune companies and 50 plus universities across the globe. And I'm very proud to inform you all that we do have 100 plus authorized training partner across the globe. We have partner in Asia, Africa, Canada, America, and many other countries. So I would love to thank you, those who have joined us through our training partner channel. In case if you are looking for any training program for yourself, feel free to reach out to our training partner to have an inquiry about it. I'll share the links in the chat box so you can reach out to them. A special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub, for covering all our events and press releases. Let me introduce you all to this exciting thing that GSDC has introduced earlier. So this is regarding the GSDC AI Studio, where we are providing 100 plus live sessions on AI monthly basis, which is led by global experts. So what you will be getting in this, 4 daily sessions where you'll be getting 45 minutes of impactful live session, which is led by experts. Sessions from global experts, you can learn directly from the AI leaders around the world. Real time practice, you can implement whatever concept that you learn in that particular session. You'll able to implement that as you'll be getting a demo or practical sessions. Also, your questions will be answered. Whatever doubts that you have, you can reach out to our SMEs to get that sort, and it will be resolved instantly. So certification ready, you will be getting training aligned, which is industry with the industry standards for job ready skills. How you can access this GSTC AI Studio? You will be start learning right away with 30 days of access, which is free access, where you will be getting 80 plus live sessions monthly. Also, the next step is that you can opt out for the GSTC lifelong membership with $109, where you'll be getting access for lifetime. Also, you'll be getting 80 plus live sessions per month. You'll be getting full access to GSTC AI Studio, free GSDC membership, access to physical events, LinkedIn profile improver. And there's a third step where you can opt out for the GSDC certification lifetime membership. You can opt out this with $100, where this is only limited time offer, where you will be getting access for GSTC certification, all benefits of lifetime membership, personalized coaching, capstone project plus AI tool, and GSTC Copilot and competency assessment tool. So I'll be sharing the link of the advisor, our learning advisor. You can reach out to them to get more information of this, and you can check how you can access this tool, right? So without any further delay, I would like to quickly inform you all that our current certification portfolio holds certification on L&D and HR, generative AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO, project management, agile DevOps, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and so on. So in case if you're looking for any of this certification in order to upskill yourself and stay industry relevant, you can definitely reach out to a learning advisor to get more information. Or also you can check our website, which is www.gsdcouncil.org, to get more details and to check all the offerings that GSTC has for all of you. Without any further delay, let me tell you all more about our today's speaker. And before that, I would like to tell you all she'll be taking us through the topic that is designing AI powered presentation and videos for students. So we'll be having Kerry Forbes with us, and she's a visionary leader, creative strategist, and driving force behind Rockstar Advisor. With past CEO and executive roles, she has successfully spearheaded major digital transformation and guided organizations through significant changes spanning diverse industries from fintech to cooperatives. Her deep background in learning and development, change management, and strategic execution has empowered people and business to change, innovative, and grow. She has received numerous nominations and industry awards, including being the recipient of 2024 International Women of the Year Award for Open Banking Expo in London, UK. We are very proud to have you, Carrie, with us again for the session. You can have the handover of the virtual mic now, and a warm welcome to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. And good day to you wherever you are in terms of the time of day. It's morning for me, so I'm bright and early with you. I'm just going to share my screen here while we get going. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we are in a time as learning and development people, professionals, whatever your, whichever way, you are involved in this particular, area. But we are in a time when now we have the ability to do things that we never did before. So I'm going to take you through today a presentation and a demo and a bit of background for you to see how we design AI-powered presentations and use these tools that are now here at our disposal. So one of the things that I would like to know is how comfortable do you feel? So I know there's several of you out there today, and I'm going to keep an eye just briefly on the chat as we look and see how you feel. So if you feel good about your use of AI tools today, give us a thumbs up, or any emoji. Just let us know kind of how you're feeling about that exercise today. So what are we going to cover? We are going to take a look at key skills for learning all about how to transform our content. So AI tools can really help us enhance the teaching methods that we use. Back when I started in the 90s on what we used to call, I guess, multimedia. And back then that meant, wow, we were introducing computers into the mix. And look at us now, several decades later. We're also going to look, though, on how to use those tools safely. And I think that's an important aspect of when we get our hands into the mix. It can be very easy for us to forget about all of the considerations, particularly when we're with students. And we're going to touch on some of that today. What are the best ways to ensure privacy and security as we're going? And also have a look at how to prompt effectively for learning and development. So I think that's the other piece. Learning to prompt, some of us have lots of experience on what I would call the old days of search, but things and how we use that in an AI context, particularly get the outcomes that we need, will help us produce better quality and more effective content. All right. So I do have a question for everybody as we get going. Here we go. So, what percent of time do you think is spent on non-instructional activities by educators? So, maybe if you would like, you can just put a guess in the chat. Any percentage at all. What do you think? How much time are we taking? We got a 60, that's great. 15, 60, yeah. 50, woo, yeah, yeah. It's a lot. 70, yeah. For some, and also it's important to know this will change depending on our skill sets, depending on how much experience we have, on how much, in those things. So let's take a look at what the key is here. It really is, it's 40%. That's the average. That's how much time we are taking 38 on average on non-instructional activities for teaching the students, whether it's in a classroom or workplace, any of those particular places. So think about, this is the benefit, right? This is going to be the area where we can make some improvements in our overall productivity. And not just in a way, and I think this is the exciting part that we'll get to. AI just isn't a get it done quickly. It also can help us to take the nuggets of the best parts of our learning that we want to share and really enhance them in creative ways that maybe we didn't have access to. Okay, so that's great. But when we think about what AI really does for us, it it democratizes in many ways the ability to create really quality and effective learning. So I remember back when I got started, and we'll say the late 1990s, there was a new e-learning evolving with internet. And we had a limited tool set, but it was very exciting at the time. It gave us the opportunity to teach asynchronously or, on your own pace. It gave us the ability to have video for the first time and maybe some voice or perhaps some animation. But to create that really required a lot of skill and still does in many cases with existing tool sets. And it also requires funding and resources to do that. So creating content with technology often required a pretty heavy ROI for us to look at it and say, how much is it going to take me to create it versus to deliver it maybe in a traditional way? And so as we think about how more, even more complex learning, that became even more challenging to produce. So we have inequity, especially when we think about the resources at our disposal to create these tools. And so I think as we consider as we go along today, consider how AI not only helps us to create, but also about how it can really help democratize or to make accessible to different populations, to folks with different resources, and just in general, kind of helps us step up maybe some of that access along the journey. Okay, as we progress along, one of the things that we've seen is that by leveraging AI tools, educators can save not only a lot of time, but that helps them to engage more on the experience of learning and also to maybe experiment with innovative teaching methods. So this is a really key point that I think we have to think about when we use AI to augment or to create efficiencies, is what is it are we doing with that leftover time? And that is the advantage or the opportunity, not so much just to free up time in and of itself, although we can all use a break, right? We can all use some time. But it's where the learner will benefit from that freed up time from administrative or we'll call non-instructional activity. If we can then take that time spent in really meaningful ways, now we are also upping the game of learning development. That could be much more on the human skill side of the equation. So less time perhaps creating and entering and all of these types of activities, but more on understanding, on conversations, on perhaps those types of learning and maybe even new types of learning that help us to see the world differently or to share different ideas. That sometimes that time taken to have those conversations or the depth, we don't have time because of these other activities. So keep in mind that the average time savings for educators looks like about 5 hours a week. So just imagine what you might do with an extra 5 hours a week. So if you've got an idea that comes to mind immediately, feel free to share that. But to my mind, you think about what you can do, that's almost a full day's worth of content. So it can be pretty powerful. Okay. This is some of the, as I was talking about, some of the areas of what we call differentiation and accessibility. And so I look at when we think about how AI really in the learning space, generative AI can help us, these are some of the key buckets I would suggest that we can look at. And I think the first one is probably the one that's most obvious to us, which is all about those multiple formats. We can offer now the content consistently to cater to different learning preferences. And so as, educators and facilitators and folks that are involved in this, that's one of the principles that's so important. Now, if you're new to learning and development, one of the things that is very key when we're designing learning is to consider that there are various ways that people learn best. Sometimes that is visual. It can be just the imagery. It can be a video. Sometimes it's auditory. And that auditory doesn't necessarily have to have a video, but maybe it's conversation. Conversation itself, dialogue, sharing of ideas can be another mode. And also for some people, it's application. Like we're going to hopefully do some of that today. So when we're trying to build a piece of learning, keeping in mind those different preferences, it becomes really engaging for everybody, but it also becomes easier to do when we have a tool that can help us quickly shift between all of those multiple formats. The other is reading levels. So again, when we're teaching a group that's very diverse, that can be from perhaps a language perspective, it could be from a age range, it could be a workplace where you have a number of different types of people. And you may need to adjust the reading level for the learning that you've created. So Gen AI tools can make that very effective and help us to measure that in ways that in the past we could do it well, but perhaps maybe not as analytically as we can today and really take care of those differences. So reading level, another key area. And then also, and as I've mentioned, audio and visual. When we consider that the a lot of how we learn is in those modes, particularly from a distance perspective. So if you're creating learning that is online or even in a hybrid where there is some distance, or it's asynchronous where the user can take the learning wherever they like on their own, those elements become even more crucial. And what I've learned many times the hard way is sometimes the overall effectiveness of that learning is limited to how we can create well with those tools. They can become a distraction rather than an enabler if they're not done well. But it also helps us to enrich that experience rather than just reading and perhaps typing. So these are some of the areas. And when we think about accessibility, I also think about that from the user learner and the person's overall experiential way of taking in information. And that can include people who are part of neurodiverse populations who perhaps may have a reading disability, or maybe someone has a preference for a particular style because visual could be overwhelming. And so audio might be a more effective way to learn. And when we consider learning design, I think it's important to consider these aspects, which now, and we think about democratizing, this makes it a lot easier to be more inclusive. And I believe that inclusive learning is deep, rich learning. And I think that's one of the benefits here at GSDC as well. Okay. If we start to also look at the advantages of how we democratize our tools, creativity is one of those areas. Now, I am going to put a caveat here. I don't think at this stage, I mean, we can debate whether or not AI produces art. But what we can do is say that it can enhance our ability to create with a tool. And one of the things that I think has been fundamental to this journey is the ability to empower educators to be creative, to use that side of their learning brain, and to have materials that speak to that perhaps they didn't have access to in the past. So, for example, we can level the playing field again. If you couldn't afford an Adobe Studio and also had the tool set to create all sorts of animations, for example, you probably didn't include them in your learning materials. But now, and you're going to see this today, we do have the ability within Gen AI tools to very easily and quickly create video that is professional looking. And so when we consider that now we have the ability to take what pops into our mind, even if we don't feel we have the technical ability to do so, we now have a tool set that can level the playing field a bit here. And in a learning environment, we're not, trying to create, a commercial of the year or some kind of art piece. We are trying to really enhance the learner's overall experience. And so again, if you think about the ability, we can level up learning for everyone by being able to craft tools that really spark our own creativity in the process. So you don't really need those design tools. And the learner, again, gets to really become immersed in that. And they can also become part of the learning journey with you as you go. So I will pause just for a moment, because if you have one of the three tools that we're going to be using today, and that is, I'm going to be demonstrating using Gemini, as well as Copilot, and I'm also going to be using Claude with Canva. And so if you have those, and if you have chat will work as well. And I'll explain why I've picked those three in a moment. You can follow along with what we're doing later. So to my mind, that's the other creative part, is these tools are accessible to our learners at the same time. And that gives you options and opportunities that perhaps in the past would be much more limited, because the tool set would be only accessible to a certain number of people. Okay, so we've got creativity, we have democracy, we've got the ability now to mix up our learning in different ways. And that means I have one more question before we move on to, that's great, we can create everything, but how do we do it safely? So this is the key question, and I'm going to pause here for a moment and allow you perhaps to add in the chat. We need to think about, while we're having fun and while we're using these really powerful tools to help us, what privacy concerns should we consider to use AI safely? And it's something that, in all of the excitement of use, is critically important, particularly when we are using this in populations with students who are, various ages. We need to consider the data we're using, and we need to consider the contexts of all of those things. So if you have any thoughts on what would you consider as a privacy concern, what would you do? Feel free to share that with everybody here. In the meantime, let's take a look at what these essential guidelines do look like. And I do see we've had a couple of ownership. I love that. That's great. Knowing what you need to know, student details, content rights, details of classroom discussions, bang on. Absolutely. That's great. Not adding confidential or personal data. Fabulous. You guys are bang on. This is wonderful. So let's take a look at those here on screen. We've got personal information. So absolutely, we never want to put student information into the tools to maintain. And I think it sounds common sense, and it is, but sometimes, just to give an example, we might inadvertently um, post something or put some information where we might not see, where maybe there's a photo of a bit of information, or perhaps the student has attached something we didn't realize. So it's important that when we're uploading anything into an AI tool, we take very good care to make sure we know what that content is, because a lot of oopsies can happen. And I would suggest that most breach situations that we look at that are in these kinds of scenarios are really unintentional ones. So that, I think, is also important to relay to the students as well, to make sure that they're aware. Here's what we need to do. And it's critical that none of our information goes forward. So also making sure we have good institutional policies. This, I find, academia and a lot of school systems do probably a little better than workplaces in some cases, in workplace learning environments, where there's policy, but perhaps the consequences of not meeting them may not be as high. But it's really important to adhere to any institutional policies on how data is to be treated and any guidelines that are in place. Some industries have more stringent guidelines than others, like finances, for example, or if you're in defense, you may see that. And a data understanding. So making sure that we also know about the collection and storage practices, because once we've created something, we need to know what to do with it after the fact. Is it something you delete right away? Is it something that you can store for a certain period of time? What rules exist around those? And it's important to know these things before you start to design your learning materials, because there is nothing worse than having done all the work and then realizing you've got to go back and start over again. So keeping these principles front and center will help you as you start the learning design process, and also as you start to execute it, keeping them top of mind all the time. And if you have a classroom, you may even want to post them and have them visible. So it's a great reminder for everybody as you go. Excellent. Now, here's some key items that we do want to ensure we avoid sharing at all times. So never include actual student names. Fictional, use fictional names, use all of those things. I think that was mentioned here, which is lovely. We also don't want to include any details like addresses, phone numbers, student IDs, and other info. And this is the one where I think it pops up inadvertently. Sometimes we're sharing a profile, we forget to block out, and I say even the users who are using the tools. So as you design, I always recommend create lots of fake profiles and data so that no one is touching anything that they have on their own. I remember this back when I used to do bank training, and we actually had a situation one time where a student shared their screen and it happened to be their own private personal banking information. And the talk of the group was how much this person was making. And so there's a lot that we may not always, in our desire to share and learn, we can sometimes forget those things. Um, Also recordings. So there can be times when we do this. If I'm teaching facilitation, we will record ourselves and watch it. And so we want to make sure that those are deleted, and that they're also not shared, or if anything, without any explicit permission. So if you're doing something promotional and you have a waiver and all of those pieces in place, that's fine. But remember that these are people and it's their likeness and their own agency. So it's very important that any recordings we have explicit permission to use. And I would delete them unless, like you say, there's a purpose for them after the learning. And of course, that goes for images and photos as well. And imagery is becoming really, really important when we think about training AI tools, and likeness, and we get into students and children. Really, really have to think about the appropriateness of using those. I would recommend not. I would recommend, again, just using generic pictures if you can. As what you do personally on your own can be totally different in your comfort levels and your risk tolerance. But when we're dealing with a classroom, I think it's really important to consider be safe as possible and just, do what you can to avoid having an inadvertent data share in that way. So I think everybody's comfortable with that, but we always like to make sure that it is top of mind, especially before we start the design process. Now let's talk about hallucinations. Um, and I just want to check in because it is a term that's used quite substantially in this world. But if anybody's unfamiliar with it, it is this term that we use to describe the fact that AI is not perfect. It has a 3 to 8% error rate. That's significant. Um, when we think about that, you can't have that kind of error rate, say, in an accident profile or something like that. So we have to really consider that these tools are not, um, I don't want to say they're not an absolute. We can't just put our trust entirely on what we receive back. And this is a very important principle when we're using Gen AI in general, and we call it the human in the loop piece, which is our role as a creator of the content. And also, once we receive back an output from AI, is to check it, is to make sure it is accurate. And so that involves a little bit of work. We call it a hallucination, especially when it just comes up with something that is very unexpected. And we need to advise ourselves that that is one of the risks and one of the challenges in using these tools. So that kind of error rate can lead to some serious misinformation. And as an educator, you really don't want to have that, one, because that's not the outcome you're looking for. Secondly, it would kill your credibility. Now, you might, I mean, recently there was, this made the news globally, that firm Deloitte is facing a lawsuit because they produced quite a heavy, consultancy report, but it was found that a lot of the data had been fabricated by AI and no one had checked it. So AI, again, remember, it's great as an assistant. And that's another excellent way to think about it. An data AI scientist I know said, imagine that your AI assistant is just like an intern that you've hired who is very young, very smart, has a lot to offer, has a ton of skills, but they're new to the work environment and they don't know the context of your workplace. They don't know all the relationships. They don't know all of that yet. And their number one desire is to give you what they think you want. So you need to keep that in mind, that that's what the training really is about, and to treat your information back as something to review for correctness. And we really should, as this main point here says, every single piece of AI generated content must be reviewed by you before it reaches your students. So that, I think, is really a fundamental part of validation and appropriate use. And I think it's a good model. I think it's something we should be modeling with our students as well, because as individuals, we should be doing the very same thing and not just trusting what we get back necessarily. Okay, so let's also talk about bias and sensitivity. In addition to the idea of hallucinations, one of the other risks and challenges is that these tools do have an underlying bias, and we have to be sensitive to that. So if we think about how these models were trained, a huge amount of it is the internet. And so the internet itself, as we know, already has these components. We also have big data sets from, I will say, very Western white male institutions, and they reflect a lot of these things that we see. So one being societal. We may have some unintentional reinforcement of those stereotypes with AI generated content. And that's been some of the critique. As we prompt it, we need to be cognizant of that so that we can make sure that the output can account for that inherent bias that might be there. As well, geographically, as I mentioned, unfortunately, and if we look at this, a colleague I know quite well, her name is Theodora Lau, has written a book about AI and how it affects things like the banking industry. And one of the global components here is we've only trained 100 languages, and yet there are almost 1,000 languages globally. So we have an inherent bias in that in which it's trained. We also need to look for what would be those stereotypes, representation misses that, again, might be put forward because of how that underlying data is structured today. So it is one of the things we also have to be very open, I think, as educators with folks that are using these tools. There is a lot to be done, I think, in the future about how we train, and they do have lots of utility. But without this caveat, I think it can also, we can inadvertently continue those stereotypes and those biases. So again, something for us to consider as we use and start to really adopt these tools into our everyday life. So from an ethics perspective, these are just a few things, again, that are critical when we're integrating AI into our workplaces and the way that we learn. One, we should always model, be a good model, demonstrate that. And I think that's the key. If we want our students to do this themselves, we should just be open and sharing and showing. we also need to be very transparent. And this is one that really kind of gets to me when I see it used in places like customer service, where it's obvious AI is being used, but they're not telling us the truth. And I think that to foster trust, we need to make sure we are very clear about AI's role in creation. So I created this entire deck with AI. And I also used AI for some deep research to support some of the points. And I am going to show you 3 different pieces of AI as well. So that kind of a deliberate, I would say, transparency is really key for keeping that human in the loop continuity and making sure we're coming at it with a healthy critique eye. And of course, following all the policies that we need to. That helps us maintain not just the right outputs, but a sense of our integrity. And, in this space, that's going to be crucial. I think that if you are someone who makes a career in learning and development, integrity will be one of the most crucial skills and probably characteristics you're going to need to differentiate yourself as we go. All right. Looking at age, because here's the thing, you might be using these tools with children. And this is the recommendations for student, what we call digital citizenship, but really recommendations for age. Most of these tools have a restriction that they can't be used for anybody under the age of 13. Uh, and some of them have an 18, depending on the tool itself. So it's really important to make sure that if you're going to introduce it, it is age appropriate. If you're using something for younger children, teachers need to create that content and guide the learning as an activity. So, for example, you could create an AI video and share that with the students, but it would not be appropriate, say under 13, to have the students creating the video themselves using the tool. There's where the difference comes from. And for older students, it's that guided exploration in a very safe way. We want them to use the tools, but with supervision and support. We want to know what they're doing. And we also want to make sure that they're in the container in that enterprise version that we're using so that they're not accessing parts of the web we don't want them to or that are not appropriate. So know your audience, particularly if they are younger, and this helps us to kind of ensure that we have a good sense of when it's appropriate. And I think, again, we know that a lot of youth are using these tools, but as an educator, our modeling of the right way is part of, I think, this journey of learning together. Oh, my apologies. I moved us to the end, which was not what we wanted to do at all. When I hit the button, I got really excited. So let's move us along to where we should be. And I think we're just about wrapping up our ethical discussion. That's right. I have another question. So we've talked now about how it's advantageous. We've also talked a lot about the right way and the ethics of this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into some prompting and we're going to work together. So again, feel free if you would like to follow along. You certainly can, although I will be demonstrating. But I'd like you to maybe share with us what your best description of a prompt is, or maybe what your best prompt tip is if you've got one. So just feel free to put that in at your leisure. I'm going to continue on. And we are going to look at effective ways to prompt. So the mastery of it, and I already see some good ideas coming in. First of all, is to be specific. We really, really need to. I love this. Suggest a scenario, give it output structure. We see that. Yeah, specific prompts lead to better results. Oh, we've got the CTE-PTF framework. Oh, that's a great one. We'll have to dig into that perhaps later. And so I think as you're prompting the prompt, we're seeing a lot of these concepts come up. Context matters. So that influences the output. The more clear and relevant, the more optimal our result. And also guidance. We want to make sure that it helps the AI function, making it easier to get the desired outcome. So here's your context, task, example, persona, format, tone. You guys know this, so you're going to get through this. Oh, proper is another one. I love this. Persona, request, operational, personalization, examples, refine. So you can see we've developed different models for prompting. And to add, and you can see this in some of these, we're kind of just different ways of thinking through how to give the right information. We have a who, so that's our persona. You might want to specify what age or grade level for the content for learning that you're using. The what. So what are the learning objectives? What is it that we're trying to do? And so we want to make sure that that generated content is actually going to get the goals of the learning itself. And that's the wonderful point about developing good, solid learning objectives. And also what format we want to use. So whether that's the slide, the video, etc., we'll be able to do that. Love it. Oh, my good tone there. Love this. So we're going to create a prompt. And so if you would like, using the formats that you've come up with or here, just give me one prompt. Again, feel free to share an example with us in the chat of a specific prompt for learning, anything at all. And it can be very, very simple. Just to kind of give an example to folks of how great you guys know this already. In the meantime, what we're going to do is also look at how to iterate. So prompting that initial prompt gives you 70% of what you need to start creating. However, you do that human in the loop we talked about, we have to do the review. So we need to look at that to identify areas of improvement, also making sure, because we may not get back exactly what we're looking for, and how to refine that prompt. And usually we take about 3 to 5 rounds of adjustment when we're developing really good learning content this cycle. So remember, it is an iteration cycle. And that's not much different from the old days we used to draft and write papers. It's about getting that refinement down. Now, we're going to do this in 3 different tools. So I've selected Google Gemini, as well as Microsoft Copilot, and a combination of Claude and Canva. And the reason I've selected these is these are some of the more heavily used institutional. So if you're in a learning environment or often learning and development, we do see these platforms because they're generally weaved into the enterprise. That's not to say you could do this with ChatGPT as well. So yeah, this is what we're going to look at today. So as I start to do some demonstrating and to show you, again, feel free to follow along, and we'll just kind of move with this. So the first demo that we're going to look at, and we're going to be sampling for all 3. I'm going to show you the same prompts for all 3 so you can see some of the differences and also a little bit of how you may use these tools in your own context. So we're going to use the idea of a grade 7 student who is looking to do a presentation on water flow. Okay, so we're going to start there. I will say that I have created the prompts ahead of time, just like we're in a cooking show, just so that we can speed this up a little bit. And you won't see me here making them up, and they'll be consistent. Let's get started with the first one. So we're going to look at Gemini. And just while I'm getting this set up, I'm going to create a prompt. And this prompt is really about creating a 5 presentation slide for grade 7 students about the water cycle. I'm going to ask for a title, a slide explaining an example, a slide explaining condensation and precipitation, etc. And I'm also going to suggest what visuals may help and make it appropriate for 12 to 13-year-olds. Now, let me just stop sharing this video, and then we're going to bring up Gemini. Go. Here. This is always the part where you hope everything is going to go smoothly. And here we are. So, oh, that's Copilot. My apologies. And that's exactly what I was saying. So when you're doing these things live and you're juggling around, you may end up doing what I'm doing here. There we go. Now let's do this. Now I'll share my screen. Now we have Gemini. So here we go. Here is hello. Here's our prompt box. And if you haven't used AI before, although with this group, something tells me you've all at least used it once or twice, some tool of your choice. Here we have the prompt box for our tool. So I'll notice here I'm using the Pro version, and we have a new tool, which is great because it now has a video tool itself, Veo, and we might give this a shot as well to see what it can create. So I'm going to enter the prompt here. I've just copy and pasted this, and we're going to allow Gemini to see what it comes up with. So it likes our plan. And here you can see that it's going to give us, this is our outline for the slides. We have the never-ending journey of water. We've got slide 2 on evaporation. It's got a title. It's giving the key ideas in the text. The visual is described, and it does this for all of the slides, as you can see. So this is pretty cool. Looks pretty good for an outline. But you know what? I've kind of taken a look at it and I've said, yeah, that's great. And yes, oh, share the prompt message. I absolutely can. Thank you for that. I will do that immediately here in the chat, and then you can all do it. There it is. Thank you for the reminder. So there's your prompt. Now, having looked at this, I'm a little, that's great, but I still want to have a look at something else as I do this. So I'm just going to stop there for a moment, and I'm going to come up with a new prompt. All right, let's copy this one and I'll share it with you first. We're going to bring up our Gemini again. There we go. This is the prompts that I have set up. So this is what I have. I have all of the prompts here, and all we need to do is just move to, just going to move my screen here. Sorry, folks. My boxes are in the way and I just have to flip. And meanwhile, in the chat, there we go. Here's the new prompt. So here's what we're going to tell Gemini. While I get this back up. There we are. So this is great, but what we really want is to simplify this by using everyday language. And we want an example that the students can relate to, like what happens after puddles in the rain, and maybe a diagram. So that's our refinement. And let's see what Gemini comes up with. Revised. So they've revised slide 2, made a suggested video, or sorry, suggested visual, and a suggestion. And here we go. And now it's got even more. Do you want to keep going? So we could, if we really, really wanted to, keep going. But what I think is, you know what, for now, this looks good. So the next prompt that we're going to add actually is, and this one's a really, really simple one, which is just to create a slide deck. So I'm just going to tell it here, create a slide deck with this outline. And let's see what pops up. We'll give it a moment. Here we are. Designing the visuals and developing the content, crafting. So you know that Gemini uses the Google Suite. And so it's going to reach in and develop this slide deck appropriate for Google Slides. And that's what will make it much easier than having to take all that content, copy and paste it. Here we go, the Great Water Adventure. Ready in a few minutes. Here's what I'm going to do though, while we're waiting for that to pop up, because I want to make sure that we're getting all of our tools in line. We're going to let that run. And in the meantime, we're going to flip to our second set of tools. So we are going to now take that same initial prompt that we had, and we're going to use it with Copilot. So let's bring up Copilot. And many of you may have this already in your workspace. Great. Here we are, and I'm just going to go see what that came up with. I just have to get that initial prompt. And I'm just going to stop there. We're going to grab this prompt again, and we'll see the difference. Here we go. In Copilot. There's our prompt. And here we go. Now, Copilot thinks it's a fun and educational presentation, and it's come up with its slide descriptions, a little shorter this time, I've noticed. And here we have, again, very similar, but not exactly the same approach as we saw with the other prompt that we had in Gemini. And we're going to do the same refinement as well. So if I take a look here, and I go into, and I give it the same prompt, let's see what it comes up with. Aha, notice it focused on the same slide. And it's also given another similar, but, its own version of that example. But again, what I'm finding is Copilot's a little bit shorter and more succinct. And that might be better for you. It also could be, something that you prefer the Gemini version. So you might want to evaluate both if you have both. Likewise, now, because Copilot is in the Microsoft suite, we have a very easy way now to take this, just like we did with Gemini, but ask it to put it in a PowerPoint. So I can say, would you please create a PowerPoint with this outline? And here we go. Now, notice here, it's telling me it can't export the PowerPoint directly, but it can lay out the full version, because I'm not using, in this case, this is Copilot, but it's not the Pro. So if you have the Pro version, it actually will take all of these and will create the actual PowerPoint itself. And so it will actually kick out and actually develop that PowerPoint. I didn't realize I didn't have it here. But what I can do is I can show you, because I have the Pro version set up in another element there. But what I do want to do is go back to our Gemini and see what has happened with that and see what it's come up with. Aha, we do have a slide deck now. And let's take a quick look. Here it is, the Great Water Adventure. So if we click along, we have the text, we have some visuals, and you could easily just export that to slide, and you're pretty much ready to go. Likewise, in Copilot, the same thing happens with PowerPoint. If you have that integration, it will develop these particular slides. So the other piece, though, what's interesting with Gemini now, I'm just going to close that out since we're in this prompt, is it now has, if you notice in its tools, we have a create with video. So if I click this, it will start a new chat. But what I'm going to do is let's copy this response. This is our slide deck. And then we're going to just click create video with Veo, start this new chat, and we're going to say create a video from the following slides. I'm going to paste that in and we'll hit submit. Now this is probably going to take us a minute or two for this video to generate. So while we're doing that, I'm going to flip over to our last tool set here just to share with you, again, this prompt with Claude. So if you've used Claude, Claude's a very powerful tool, and it has a really interesting integration with Canva, which is a really fascinating way to generate end-to-end video as well as lots of PowerPoint as we go. So we're going to give that a shot. And I think I'm loading up a lot of tools here. So just bear with me. Oh, this is our video still not rendering yet. And this is the challenge when you're using multiple tools. But let's go to, here's our Claude. This is Claude. And as you can see, we have similar prompt box, just as we had before. Now, I'm not going to go through the exact same prompt for time, but what I'm going to do is take and show you the integration that if you had refined all of your content the same way that we just did with Gemini and with Copilot, we can have Claude develop here these slides. So I've just put in this slide deck. And what I'm going to ask it to do is to, oh, just one sec. I didn't mean to prompt it. Stop that. That's a great thing. So if you make a mistake, you can stop a prompt just like this. And I can say, please create a Canva presentation with this slide outline. So Claude does have an actual connection with Canva. And if you have a Canva account, you can very easily create a similar slide deck. And it's going to take just a moment here to do its piece. And here we are. So you can see how Claude takes, it tells you a lot about what it's doing and how it's generating. So we're going to let it, so here we go. We've got it says we've got a Canva presentation based on the slides. And it will take just a moment or two there just to do what it wants. And yes, Claude and Canva are actually integrated. And when I pop up here, you can see these are the integrated tools that I have within my Claude. So Canva is one of them, and I have my G Suite. So because those are integrated, we can do a little bit more of moving that data across, which makes it very, very easy as well. Excellent question. Okay, while that's a heavy load, let's go back and take a look at what happened with our video. There we go. And it looks like we have one. So let's take a look at what Google came up with here. Look at this. This is our water vapor video. And if I click, we can see, I don't know if you can hear the sound, but it's got some water sounds as well. So that was an end-to-end with Google Gemini right there. We'll stop sharing, where we were able to go from very beginning all the way through to the end. And let's see, can I use Claude to give me wiring diagram? Probably of any circuit, you probably could do that. Now, I know I am at just about the end of my time. And I think Claude is still thinking about what to do, but I can assure you that it will create the same Canva slide deck, just like we saw. And within Canva, you can use what's called the magic video to produce the exact same integration we saw with the Gemini, but we've seen that all the way through. So that is 3 different tools, 3 different approaches, but using the same process, the same idea in terms of how to prompt and how to refine your prompt, and then how to create different outputs all along. Now, I've got just one more thing before I wrap up and we start to turn to various questions. And this is a little bit of homework for you all. So you have seen several tools in action. And here's what I'd like you to do is to pick a student audience that you will present and use video. So thinking about who they are, that target. Then to create the presentation outline in the tool of your choice. Then to take those slides, create them, whether integrated in that tool, or you can take them and add them. And then also to try making a video as well, if you have that capability in any of those tools. If you don't have the capability to do the direct video, you can always take the script and use that in a separate video tool as well. So that's your homework. Whew, we've been through quite a bit. And I think what's been really great is how I can see already many of you are asking the right questions, thinking about the right ways to prompt, thinking about the right considerations for safety. And I have a feeling you're going to be just fantastic at being able to create your own content as you go. So I guess with that, there are some great questions coming up already. And I do see one here. And if you don't have Pro in Gemini, can you still generate a video? I don't think you can. I think you still do need to have, there's a couple of new features, Pro, but if you have, I will say the workspace. So if you have Google Workspace, oh, the homework again, absolutely. I will flip that back to you. Let's go back. Here we are. Amazing. But yeah, I think with Gemini, and that's why I say that if you have an enterprise license, there's often these are bundled in. But you can also sometimes sign up for the trial for a month or two just to give it a shot and see how it goes. And if I had to select one AI tool to pay for premium access, ooh, that's a tough question. This one depends a little bit on what you do every day. I personally, and yeah, Gemma is another great tool as well. And again, so we're getting into it's a lot about your preferences. Um, you could use Notebook. You could use really, so the tool I think is really about what fits your work style, your environment, your preferences, perhaps too the type of industry you're in. So I do a lot of work in the fintech space and I do a lot of deep research. So Claude is my preferred tool and it has a lot of good integrations, but I use the workspace in Google quite a bit, and I found that the photo capabilities in the videos have really stepped up. Likewise, ChatGPT Sora as a video tool is pretty incredible. So sometimes you might want to use a blend, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, as you saw, to kind of compare. Well, what's one LLM giving me for output compared to another one? And you might decide you like a bit of one and a bit of the other to help kind of pull this all together. So those are just some good considerations, but excellent questions. All right. Anything else you would like to ask as we get rolling? And I'll keep the homework back up for those that want to see it. Okay. I'm just going to spy and see if my video, uh, if some of the other, oh, Claude is still working with Canva. So sometimes they can take a little while to generate. And what I can share is that what's great about once you've created them, and one of the things I like in many of these LLMs is you'll see a place for a project, or you can keep all of your presentations, particularly for a specific topic, in one bucket. And that way, as you create new content from the same information, um, your LLM is trained in that, and it can kind of kick out a little bit more of what you're looking for accurately than just starting from scratch. So just to keep that in mind as well. Oh, and here we go. Is privacy also an issue if you're using enterprise AI and more secure with the data? Yes. So this one goes back to what we talked about earlier about you really need to know your workplace and all of your organizational um, rules and all of those pieces. Most enterprises will put barriers around the type of data you can put in, the type of data you can access. But there's always that risk. And the last thing we want is to have corporate or private information all of a sudden out to the greater wild, universe there. And then now, ChatGPT or whatever have got all of your information to the rest of the world. So if you are concerned, I would say that's something to talk to your leadership or the compliance or the security and privacy folks that you're working with. And it's something that all organizations should have a policy. In fact, one of the things that we saw here in Canada, this was a study by IBM this year, that 79% of people are using this in the workplace, but only 23% of organizations have a policy. So it is a really big deal to do that. Thank you, folks, for joining that I've had to pop off. And any other questions, feel free. We have a few minutes. Thank you. I think one thing I want to leave you with is don't be afraid to play. One of the best things I love about learning and development is this is the place where we get to be really creative. So when you think about this is where you get to even use the LLMs to give you creative ideas that you haven't thought of, to expand your thinking a little on what's possible. So have fun with it, and no, you can't really break it right now. Use some dummy data, but um, yeah, it's really a good opportunity to just get out there and see what's possible in a safe place, because no one's going to, if you're doing your own prompting, no one has to see all of your experiments, but get out there and experiment for it. And thank you all for joining. That's great. All right. I'll just hang out here for a few more minutes. If anyone else has any other questions or even comments, things you'd like to share, any insights that you've had. So glad everybody enjoyed this today. Yes, I believe that the presentation will be shared, from what I understand. And of course, this deck will be sent along as well. And I understand it. That's the hard part about tech challenges, right? And when we're doing online learning. So hopefully you'll get a chance to see it. And feel free to check out more GSDC. Yeah, let me see if Claude here. We've got it. Woohoo, here it is. Actually, I'll share this. The results have just popped up. This is pretty cool. So what I like about what Claude does is it gives you can see here 4 options for design. So when I click this, it's going to bring me to my Canva, and I'm going to open up the link. And this is design number 1. So you can see, and it's done a great job of creating all the slides here. That was design 1. We can also, as I say, there's design 2. So I love that it gives you 4 options. It's kind of a really interesting way to do it. So again, they've kind of created here. The other thing I did want to share with you on Claude is this here. It's called Magic Media. This is where you can create the video. So I could say, please create a video of this presentation. And it will generate the video itself as well. So I'm just taking a look. Oh, what presentation? The platform? That is Canva. So this is the Canva and the Claude integration. I personally think is one of the best. That's why I really like to show it. You do need my Claude is paid, but you can Claude has more capabilities with that. Just going to stop sharing there. But Canva and Claude have, so if you've got an account with both, you can do the connection. I don't know if you need, Canva is very generous with its subscription, so I would check that out. But these are my everyday tools, so I do use them quite a bit for that purpose. But what I showed you in Gemini is very slick. And what I like about that, that's relatively new. You can go right from, prompting to slide to video. And to use well-informed instructional materials. Absolutely. So that in itself is probably a whole other workshop. I love that. And I would suggest that you can use it to help you create scripts. That's what we kind of did with the video. We created a video script as well. And also all of the pieces that would help with that. And what I like about AI is you could really then ask the AI to be the student and to review your manual and help you see the gaps or if there's anything missing. So that's another way that you could use that. I always like to, that's a great way to challenge it, to say, now take what you've written and critique it. It's a really good way to do that check as well. Really good question. All right, I'm so glad we got to see that last little bit with Claude there. So yeah, try them out. And again, Copilot has some of those capabilities as well. I don't think it does the video, but anyway, I think that's it for me, folks. So I will thank you all for your time, and this has been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it and appreciate your attention and your questions.
Wonderful, Kerry. Thank you so much for another great session at GSDC. You can see the interaction coming from the participants. It was very engaging session. Thank you so much for being here again, and we'll be definitely reaching out to you for further sessions. Thank you so much. So before I proceed with the session further, would love to hear final thoughts for all of us, or maybe thank you note for all of us. You're on mute, actually.
Oh, sorry. Wanted to thank
So
everybody. Sorry.
no worries. So, dear participants, I have some quick announcement for all of you. Just allow me a minute. So this is regarding the certifications, the session we had on. So you can opt out for the certification using this promo code Coach AI 20 to get an amazing discount. You can go for Certified Generative AI for HR and L&D and Certified Professional Coach. You can use this promo code. As I said, you'll be getting 20% off. As you all must be aware, this certification, whatever the certification GSDC provides, that is globally recognized one, and you'll be getting a lot of learning resources where you'll be getting a lot of case studies to work on, e-learnings and book of knowledge. So these certifications are gives you a flexibility, and these are lifelong learnings which gives you opportunity to work on the capstone project, that is something real-time AI simulation practice. And also you'll be getting chance to connect with our training partner channel in case if you're looking for any training program for yourself. So use this promo code to get an amazing discount. I've already shared the link, promo code in the chat box. Also, this is regarding the utility tool where we have introduced this tool earlier. You can use this August 100 to get 100% off, which means completely free of cost. So this is only for our webinar attendees. And how this tool will help you? It will help you to improve your LinkedIn profile score, your AI skill score. Also, it will help you to build your personal brand, and it will help you to build your AI generated resume. So this tool is very amazing. Check this out. I've already shared the details links in the chat box. I'll share it again after this announcement. And let me make this announcement as we are having a webinar series on L&D as well. We have incredible panel speakers aligned for that as well. So this is started scheduled from today, that is 3rd November to 21st November 2025, with the time slot that is 9:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Singapore time. So we'll be having this webinar series as well. Also, we are having this another webinar series simultaneously with learning and development sessions. We'll be having this webinar on ISO 42001 and ISO 27001. So we do, you can see we have amazing panel of speaker aligned for this as well. So do join us with the same time slot, that is L&D happening, 9:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Singapore time. So I have already shared all the registration link in the chat box along with the registration link and the WhatsApp group link. So you will be able to join the session using that link. And also you will be getting daily updates on each webinar, right? You will able to join the WhatsApp group that for that particular webinar, and you will be getting the daily update on that particular webinar session. So do join us. Also, you all must be aware, many of you, I believe, that we are running this AI tool challenge, right? So we had Kerry for this session as well, right? So we are running this AI tool challenge for 100 days now. Earlier we have scheduled this for 28 days, but now we have scheduled this extended this till 100 days. So do join us for all these sessions, as these sessions are very exciting ones where all the speakers are giving live demo and practical walkthroughs on each AI tool. Also, we do have these 3 winners who have referred maximum people to our this particular session. In case if you're looking where to access this page where you can see how many points that you have earned. Simply, you just have to go to our website where you'll be able to see, you have to access the event page where you're able to see the leaderboard, right? From there, you'll able to see how many points that you have earned. So please do refer maximum people, as we'll be announcing all the winners at the end of this webinar series. So referring people to sessions like this, you're already taking step ahead and becoming a thoughtful leader. And in case if you want to be speaker for our upcoming event, feel free to reach out to us, as we do have global platform like Learning Capsule, webinar, and the podcast. And we would love to connect with you all over social media. You can scan this QR to connect with us over the LinkedIn. Check our website www.gsdcouncil.org to get more information regarding the certifications that I've mentioned earlier. Also, you can check all the upcoming webinars, and you'll be able to see all the offerings that GSDC has for all of you. Also, about the GSDC AI Studio, feel free to reach out to a learning advisor to get more details and further help with that, how you can access and all that. So check that out, and please do connect with us over the WhatsApp group. As I said, we'll be sending all the daily update on webinar, boot camps, and sessions that we'll be conducting. And also, please do share your feedback on the Trust Pilot. I've already shared the link in the chat box. And thank you so much for joining today's session. I hope to see you all for the upcoming sessions as well. Thank you so much, Kerry. Bye bye, everyone.